Kevin.
You're live with JFK and James.
Hey, man, what's up, guys? Kevin from South Boston.
What's up, Kevin from Southie? What's happening?
No, listen, I appreciate the things that you two do, you and James, right? But let me ask you something. Those two dudes that you're accusing, right? They're decorated dudes. What happens? Like, can you look at this from both sides? And this comes out that she actually did it. Are you ready to, like, put it out there that you were wrong?
You sound like Higgins, bro.
You wrong.
Is this Higgins?
Is this Higgins?
You wrong.
You're Higgins.
Why are we wrong? Why
this
are we
is
wrong?
fucking Higgins. Higgins called the phone. He hung up. That was Higgins, bro.
That was Higgins, man.
Bro.
You fucking coward, man.
That was fucking Higgins. Yo.
Boston police, South Boston. Boston. Hey, man, what's up, guys? Kevin from South Boston.
What's up, Kevin from Southie? What's happening?
No, listen, I appreciate the things that you two do, you and James, right? But let me ask you something. Those two dudes that you're accusing, right? They're decorated dudes. What happens? Like, can you look at this from both sides? And this comes out that she actually did it. Are you ready to, like, put it out there that you were wrong?
You sound like Higgins, bro.
You wrong.
Is this Higgins?
Is this Higgins?
You wrong.
You're Higgins.
Kevin Elbert. Kevin from South Boston. Kevin Elbert. Kevin from South Boston. Kevin. Boston police, South Boston. Boston police, South Boston. Boston. Put it out there. I have a house there. Put it out there. I have a house there. There. You wrong? Absolutely not correct. That's wrong. You wrong? Absolutely not correct. That's wrong. Wrong.
Oh, man. Sorry. I was on mute. I'm so excited for this show tonight because this was the Microdots video. And that was last night, JFK. You heard it live on their show, JFK Show Off with Brian Higgins, possibly calling in. I think it was the Microdots video remix. Sure makes it so. And now we got some great guests on the show tonight. I'm really excited. We got attorney Mark Betterow. Hello, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, I'm on mute. Every show I screw something up. I got the videos up. I saved all the videos and got them up, and it was perfect, and then I screwed it up. But it's fine. People come to expect it from me.
It's a hell of a video. Jesus.
Yeah, that's the key. That was the Microdots remix. You heard that for the first time, or did you hear that on social media?
I heard it earlier. I was alerted to it earlier today. Somebody mentioned it. I couldn't believe it. But I only saw it recently. And then I saw you playing it on loop for a few minutes before, right when I signed on. That sounds like him. I don't know. And frankly, don't really care. It's more a comical thing to me than anything else. But it sounds like him trying to use this almost hybrid, ridiculous New York Southern combined accent that he doesn't really know how to do it. And then when called out, he just hangs up, which I think is also, maybe the strongest evidence. Because if it's not, I assume somebody would say, come on, dude, I'm not him, and laugh and whatever. He just got the hell out of there. So I don't know. It's just the latest in this whole circus that surrounds all of this. It's the idea that that he would call in like that is what do you even say at this point?
I think it just shows that we're getting under the skin. Like that show, especially focusing on the waterfall video at Higgins so much. It's like that would be actually the show he would call in on.
that actually does make sense, because I did see those guys do that video. Was that, I don't remember, was that with you or someone else, where they kind of went over that version of the waterfall video where they had a lot of interesting footage of John O'Keefe really looking like he was involved in something, and obviously Higgins and Albert and whatever, clearly something was going on there. I mean, I think that's indisputable at this point. That's just not normal behavior. And, you know, it's hard to ignore the fact that John O'Keefe was, you know, dead shortly thereafter at the very place where Higgins and the Alberts were. And, you know, the phone records, the getting rid of the phones, the butt dials, all that to go with it. Look, it's pretty damn suspicious. I mean, that's just the reality of it. They can deny it all they want. It's their right to deny it. But it's a hell of a lot of awkward coincidences that they're doing something, or that something was going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And they did do that on our show, but they've also done it like night after night after night on their show, which I'm going to bring up James Jackson, because he's in the green room right now. He was there the other night, so I want to hear what he thinks about this. And there's also something else going on their show where apparently one of Brian Higgins' friends from Cambridge is maybe calling into their show and thinks Karen's innocent, I think. Let's find out from James what's going on there.
You identify Higgins?
No, I'm anonymous. My name is not James.
Is your name Kevin from Southie?
My name is Anonymous.
Okay, Anonymous. Are you in hiding right now?
I'm scared. I got the ATF calling in to shows. Come on, man.
Well, the balaclava will help.
I'm afraid. Benadryl, you know better than anybody. Am I okay? Can I take off my mask, Benadryl?
Well, if the ATF friend is calling you, I hope you got a chance to ask him, was that Higgins?
Yeah, he wouldn't say. We kept saying, "You're Higgins," and he wouldn't tell us. He just kept saying, "We're wrong about the waterfall," and that Karen. He said, "She's guilty. You'll see. You're wrong."
What you guys need is an accent analyst, because what you had is a guy with a really thick, towny Massachusetts accent trying to add what to me were components of almost a hybrid Brooklyn Southern accent, which of course no one in the world has.
Right.
You had a Massachusetts towny / Brooklyn / Southern drawl, which suggests an intent to, you know, conceal one's true accent, which clearly was like Massachusetts towny for sure.
Yeah.
I'm glad you took your mask off.
Oh, I couldn't breathe in that thing. Hey,
I noticed during the
Higgins.
call you started off like this, and then when you were like, Higgins, like, that was the funniest thing, James. You like leaned in. You were. What was that like for you when you realized who's on the phone?
Oh man, it was just comical, because the night before that, so to give it a little dialogue of what, because everybody keeps saying, well, you know, that couldn't have been him calling in. He's not that stupid. Well, let me just tell you, he is that stupid.
Well,
no, we know this for a fact.
Definitely, if that's the criteria, is he stupid enough to do it? Yeah, I mean that can't be the issue. I don't know whether it was him or not, but if you know, the analysis here is based on could he be that stupid, then yeah, it could be him.
Well, the reason I say this, Mark, is because the night before, no, it wasn't. It was our last show. It wasn't the show we just did. It was our last live. We had met a guy in Cambridge Side Galleria. You know the Cambridge Side Galleria?
Oh,
They call it Seaside now. So this cop was walking around with this other gentleman, and they just kept, you know, we got like these vibes from them, and I said, whatever, we ain't doing anything wrong. But he knew us from the show. So we asked him, you think Karen Reed's innocent, or do you think she's guilty? And he said straight up, I think she's innocent. He goes, actually, I know one of the guys. And I said, who? I mean, and then JFK just, JFK, he just, boom, right away, just started talking to this dude. And this guy opened up to JFK, very warming, and, told us a lot of shit that he probably wouldn't tell most people. And, yeah, so we found out Higgins has been doing this kind of behavior since high school, he said. Like, he always goes after someone who has a girl. It's just weird, man. And then, so anyway, that night, Seaside was in the chat, and I said, hold up, Jay, hold up. Seaside's in the chat, because that's what he told us to call him. Seaside, code name for that's the new Galleria. And so then the next night, that's when Higgins called in. So there was more to it. It wasn't just him calling in, but we also went to the waterfall and reenacted it. Because when you watch that video, it makes the waterfall look big. And I don't know if you saw that, you guys. Mikey, did you see that?
I thought that video is you talking about the video where it shows John O'Keefe and the Higgins and Alberts kind of looking.
Right. Well, JFK and
I think that that was a great job.
Oh, yeah. But we went back. Thank you. We went back and we reenacted the scene ourselves this past week. JFK and we went and got a lot of footage. And this is what I mean. I think God's just taking the wheel, because from there, we went to this Cambridge Side Galleria where we met Seaside, who grew up with Higgins, did all this footage. Then we do our live talking about the waterfall. And then Higgins I think he became unhinged. Yeah. And he was like, you're wrong. And I'm like, yo, this is Higgins. And JFK is like, yo, this is Higgins, man. And he wouldn't say it wasn't. So, I mean,
he panicked. I mean, your first reaction is going to be deny. Again, go into the Southern accent, assuming it's him. And then when you guys keep calling him out, what's the next panic reaction? Just get the hell out of there. Click.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you can marshal all of the evidence. It sounds like him. There's clearly an attempt to use a fake accent. You accuse him of being him. He tries to convince you he's not. And then rather than laugh at it, he just hangs up. I mean, does it prove anything? No. But circumstantially, it sounded like him.
Sure did.
And when you say does it prove anything, just this real quick, I think it does, because he knows that happened at the waterfall. He knows that's where it all started.
Again, the circumstantial evidence, if you're talking about him and he calls in and that he knows the videos you made, it sounds like him. He's trying to conceal his accent, denies it's him, and then does a panic hang up. Yeah. I mean, if you marshal all that evidence together, it may be. What does it all mean other than just the comic absurdity of all of this? I don't know. But the fact that a key witness case would be calling in to, defend his honor, that's not smart. Although I don't think it means anything other than you just shake your head and say, wow, this whole situation is, a clown car. It's just bizarre.
Oh yeah. I mean, down to ducks to this whole thing has just
go on and on. Yeah.
You're in there every day.
Oh, believe me, I know.
Oh man. But on the other side, it was good content for us to go out and actually go. We went to Fairview that day. We got just a look to see what everything was like, and it was kind of, it was chilling to know that was where John O'Keefe spent his last night, at the waterfall, and then at 34 Fairview, and that's where I believe he was murdered, and that's just my opinion. So.
I think it shows that the YouTubers are getting under the skin of some of these people. I mean, this is just as much the stress that Karen Reed's gone under. A lot of these witnesses too.
Yeah, I mean, there is a general unhealthiness that surrounds what is, obviously an interesting criminal case to a lot of people for a lot of reasons, but if you do this for a living and you see, I mean, a lot of criminal cases, particularly homicide cases, are very emotional, whether it be the defendant's family, the victim's family, other people. But I have never seen anything even close to approaching the online absurdity in many ways, that just where everyone is constantly yelling at each other, doing this. Everyone is accusing everyone of this. Everyone's threatening defamation lawsuits. Everyone's going to get, orders of protection, or what they call, whatever the hell they call them in Massachusetts, HPOs. And it's actually an embarrassing look for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the people that, everyone's not from there, obviously, who's watching this, but the vast majority are. And there is just a level of embarrassment surrounding this whole case that it's just a terrible look for everyone. It really is.
It's a good point. I never looked at it like that. Takes off.
It's not normal. This is not normal in high-profile, emotional criminal cases. Okay, some of the trolling, the whack jobs, the whatever you want to call them, whoever is doing what, this is not normal, and it just makes everything surrounding this case, from the courtroom and outside, just embarrassing on a national level. This, like the rubber duck thing, that was a national story. That's like national news, that people are being accused of intimidating witnesses for throwing ducks around town.
Right.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
How much money was wasted on that?
A lot. A lot. And when you say wasted money, you're talking about the amount of police resources to investigate it, all the court proceedings, the lawyers, this. It adds up into hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the security outside the courthouse, the court officers, the court time, over what? Over ducks and over people screaming and yelling at each other on the internet for nothing, and threatening lawsuits and screaming, "You're guilty, she's not." It's, man, everybody.
You're right. He's wrong. It's just, it's like, calm the fuck down, everybody.
Let court happen. Insane. That's it.
Let Joe do his job.
Everyone. There's a criminal case. It has to play itself out,
Right.
Whether you think there ought to be a criminal case is part of the problem and the arguing, but it just the screaming back and forth over everything is just crazy.
It really is.
I agree with you.
What do you today? Did you get to watch court?
I did. I actually was with Melanie all day. I'm glad I got up really early and was productive. And, after we got off, I got a chance to be a little productive, because I don't think anybody saw it turning into an all day thing for this. I don't know what the hell we're doing. I don't know why this hearing was ever granted. I've never seen in my life a judge allow an expert to testify, to qualify them as an expert, and then at a retrial say, now I'm willing to listen as to why the person should not be an expert. I think there's a lot of confusion over what the purpose of a so-called Daubert hearing even is. The stuff that's being raised about the expert is really stuff that ought to be used to cross-examine her at trial. There's this concept about whether, a Daubert hearing is whether an expert is just qualified to testify, whether it's junk science, there's a basis, peer review, all kinds of things that just would enable you to say this is not junk science. The jury is not going to be prejudiced or unduly influenced by some crackpot making stuff up. All right. And obviously this Dr. Russell is about as credentialed as one can get, as it turns out, in multiple parts of medicine. Probably not a good thing that the DA wanted to happen today. But so far, all the attack that you've seen on her goes to the reliability of her opinion, much less than the qualifications of her to render an opinion that it turns out the DA just disagrees with. And if the DA just disagrees with the opinion, well, then they're allowed to make that argument in front of the jury and cross-examine her in front of the jury. So when you saw today, this accusation that you kind of fudged your opinion and you changed it, and I thought the way that was handled was not very effective. The tone, I thought, was really inappropriate, but that's just my opinion. The point is, that's fair game to talk about what weight the jury should afford the evidence, but clearly the doctor has the credentials, the expertise, the wherewithal, and the expertise, as I said, to offer the opinion. If you disagree with it, you call your own witness or make the arguments to the jury. And the arguments they're making today, so far anyway, struck me as more jury oriented than to exclude her from testifying. I mean, the remedy the DA is seeking it's a big one. They think she should literally be excluded from testifying when the judge already allowed her to do it.
Yeah. Right.
Crazy. That's what I don't get. I'm like, didn't we already decide this? Like, what's Shane? She seems like she's more qualified.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I think she's overqualified for this.
I'll tell you what's changed according to Brendan, and you heard this in the morning for 2 minutes, and for the last, 45 minutes of the day, is that they believe that her current opinion, which she obviously testified to today, but they saw her reports, they knew what it was going to be, was not consistent in their view with what she said at the voir dire, the basically the limited Daubert hearing that they did the last time, and what she said at trial. But that has nothing to do in a legal sense with whether she's competent to give her opinion, qualified now. It has to do with telling the jury, well, wait a minute, our position is she changed it, she fudged it. I mean, are they really suggesting that she's lying? I mean, I really found the tone and the some of the persnicketyness and some of the gratuitous comments. Sometimes you do that as lawyers, not with someone like this. She's not lying, okay? You may not think she's a good witness. You may think she's not qualified, but she's not schnookering you with lies, all right? And I felt like she was being cross-examined as if she's lying. And
yeah, she was like a kingpin or something.
They was trying to discredit her, man. Yeah. That's what I felt like. He was trying to discredit her.
Well, by definition, cross-examination, you're trying to discredit. But I guess the point I'm saying is that discrediting her for the purpose of the hearing today would be to say she's not qualified. Like literally, the jury should never even know who she is. She's not qualified. The way that he was attempting to discredit her today was that you're not honest. You're changing your opinion. You're not reliable. The defense, the lawyer helped you write the report. They pushed you to reach this conclusion. That's all stuff for the jury. That has nothing to do with her medical ability and expertise to say, I believe, beyond a degree of medical certainty, a reasonable degree of medical certainty, that these are dog bite wounds, and here's why. She said that. She offered an explanation as to why the formal language of her opinion is clearly stronger now than it was. Doesn't mean the DA has to accept it. She said, medical people, we never say anything is permanent. Whatever. In a literal sense, she did change the language. But again, that's an argument for the jury. That's an argument for Brennan to tell the jury, this is why you shouldn't credit her conclusion. It is not a credible argument to say she's not qualified to even render the opinion. Big difference.
I think that's possibly could have been good for the defense, because I feel like it helped the YouTubers with the content because it went all day, so we love it, and I think also for the public, like the jury, like it's like the puncture wounds and the clothing, all this stuff that they did today, it seemed like
I think it's good for the defense for a couple of reasons. One, as a lawyer, you never want to be so cynical to say that you don't want potential jurors to be persuaded by things that happen outside court. It's not appropriate. On the other hand, there is no jury, and everybody watches and reports. And if they hear about the level of detail and what she explained today, that would help. But I think the biggest takeaway, understanding the hearing is not over, the cross-examination is not over, but she essentially qualified herself as an expert beyond just dog bites. I mean, emergency room treatment, and also
police stations. She's worked for police.
She's worked for the police, but in terms of also potentially even being able to offer an opinion about, treating car accident victims, right, and why she believes that, this wouldn't be the case. Now, of course, in Brennan's mind, because she doesn't have a, special certificate in orthopedics, she can't, even as a treating physician, as an emergency room, who they deal with everyone right away, that somehow makes her unqualified to talk about when you might expect someone to suffer a broken bone. The reality is, I don't think it takes a genius to figure out that if your arm gets whacked by a however many ton object going at 25 miles an hour, such to the point that it's going to scrape half your arm off and cut it wide open, that you might expect at a minimum some bruising. You might expect some fractures. I think if somebody went up to you and flicked your arm 10 times like that, you might get some bruising. I mean, to say that she's, doesn't know what she's talking about because she's literally not certified in orthopedics, I mean, that seemed like a lot of flailing around to me. So I think, it's good for the defense, at least until or unless the judge says, I'm not going to allow it, which I think would be a mistake and potentially would lead to, even on the high standard, which is called abuse of discretion, the judge has discretion to make a ruling. In order to make a mistake legally, it would have to be so egregious that an appellate court says, you just screwed that up so bad. If she were to rule against them on this, based on the doctor's qualifications, at least based on what you've heard so far, there could be more, that's getting treacherously close to abuse of discretion, because it's not junk science. She's clearly qualified. She is published on bite wounds. It has been peer reviewed. She's gone to seminars. She's done this. And, trying to play gotcha with her because she can't remember a dog wound she treated in 1972.
Right.
15 years ago, or can't name every article you've ever read or why you didn't put that in your CV. There isn't a doctor alive who puts what they've read in their CV. So cross-examining her through a game of gotcha, you can't remember this, has nothing to do. Presenting her a book, okay, that she threw that back in his face. I don't even know if these people are medically trained. Who is this?
Yeah.
Right.
I can't even remember.
Yeah, he was. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
I can't remember things from my past.
I think that book, real quickly, and I'll shut up. I think that book, correct me if I'm not wrong, was written by a behaviorist.
Yeah, it wasn't written by her, and that's what I saw Hank do. He tried to discredit her on that. You didn't write that book, he said.
Listen, if that was written by a medical professional who is an authority in the field and she's not familiar with it, I get it. It's an argument. How up to date and qualified in this can you be if you're not even aware? Right. But you're telling me it's a book about how to prevent dog bites written by a behaviorist. We're talking, I don't even know if you're talking apples and oranges. I mean, I think you're not even talking fruit. You're talking like apples and bread.
Right. I didn't even look at it like that. See, you do look at stuff like that, and that's why we have Pedro. He tells us, Pedro gives us the facts. Oh, man.
He gives us a little, sometimes he gives us a little more, too. He's got like a bunch of phrases and Chinatown.
I don't think, I don't know. People are playing bingo tonight, but I'm sure we'll work.
I want to ask, you have something you want to ask James, or any comment you want to make?
Me?
No, James. I was asking James on this one.
Oh,
or even if you want to ask Pedro a question too, that's always good too.
Keep it clean.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no. So, Pedro, I had a situation come up, and I spoke about it on one of my lives where I'm in a family probate court situation, and I've been involved with the situation for a while, and everything has been going great. I have an attorney, and during Thanksgiving, something happened where, so it's tricky because my son's mother asked for an RO, which is a restraining order, in Newburyport, but we're in Salem family probate. So, make a long story short, she went and tried to get a restraining order. The judge said, no, I'm not granting it to you. So she got one. It said OBO. And I didn't know what OBO meant because I don't know what these terms are. And I guess, well, I found out it meant on behalf of the child. But the judge said the only one who can change this is the judge at Salem Family Probate Court. So if she changes it and gives me visitation on the weekends once a week, I go to his Thanksgiving game that just passed this Thanksgiving, and my son's mother was there, and she got mad because I brought him his presents and whatever. She just had a little attitude. She said, "You're going to jail." I said, "I ain't going to jail. I didn't do anything." And I knew what the restraining order said. So because it was still active on behalf of, they thought I was lying to him, but now it's a criminal case. So now I have to, on top of paying for the family probate, now it goes to a criminal case. And I just posted $50K, which was $5,000 cash bail up front on Thanksgiving Day. Well, Friday I posted bail. I had to spend Thanksgiving in Newburyport cell, and it was just a misunderstanding of the restraining order. So now my question to you is, do I have the right to get, because the transcribe from the audio of the court date in October, the judge said, she hit me with the wordplay, "With all due respect, Mr. Amaral, you can go to your son's game." And she looked down. "There's no RO," she said. I said, "Put that in writing." And she said, "I don't have to. I just told you."
Why don't you do this? Let's do this offline.
Okay.
We'll get you in touch with someone. But
all right.
I don't want to do this.
Well, I'm just asking, can I just get the transcript? That's it. Is that something that you can get?
Well, Massachusetts is a weird place. They use this, what do they call it? The FTR or whatever, where it's like audio, video. And yes, my understanding is you can get it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we will do this offline too,
Yep.
but thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Excellent. I got more questions about today.
Mm.
This attorney, Robert Alessi, I thought he did great. What do you think about Bettero, seeing him today?
And I love seeing the fellow New Yorker come in pro-hawked, and he outstanding. Listen, her legal team is top notch, and it's better today than it was, a couple of weeks ago, because they've added another brilliant mind. And directing an expert is hard, and especially when you're doing these kind of things, and it can get boring at times. And it was methodical and organized, and it was good. He's really, really good.
I thought so too. He just kept,
Yeah, he
like
was
slow
good.
and steady.
Mm.
Yeah, which is, again, it's an expert too. Not every witness is, screaming and yelling, or I mean, obviously she's a really likable doctor, by the way, but the temperament and the intellect and the organization to navigate through that for several hours. No, I thought it was great.
We all already talked about Hank Brennan today, but what more can we say about him today?
Listen, I wouldn't underestimate him. I just was surprised that he was so aggressive and persnickety with a doctor who is not lying. I mean, you can prove your points with someone like her without implying that she's lying. And he actually at one point led her to gasp when he suggested, if you testified honestly and earnestly, then why this? That's just another way of saying, I think you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
In a polite way.
If you can call it that. I just thought there was a lot of, gratuitous comments after she testified, and the tone and demeanor. He has every right to cross-examine her and make his points, and he did make some points at the end. I don't think they're relevant to the Daubert issue as much as the weight of her testimony, but I was just surprised that you would come out and really come after her in that way, because when you have a witness who you're going to impeach, for whatever reason, usually as a lawyer, you said this earlier, you come to a fork in the road. Am I going down the left path is, I think this witness is a liar, a dirtbag. And then there's another path where you say, maybe they're mistaken. Maybe they're just not reliable, but I don't have to go aggressive. I can kill them with kindness and make my point.
Exactly.
No one would ever accuse Dr. Russell of being in the first alternative. Okay. You may not think she's a great witness or qualified, but I don't think anybody seriously thinks that she's just making this up or is some loon. But he came at her a little bit as if, I don't believe a word of what you're saying, and I'm going to show it to you, and I'm going to, by quizzing you on, what you did 50 years ago. I thought it was just a modern version, ironically, of what Lally did to her with that whole Boston Globe nonsense. It was just like a different version of that. It's very bizarre to me that in this case, it's been going on forever now, that the one witness they have now kind of come after a little bit twice has been Dr. Russell. That's really...
They're threatened by her. That tells you they're threatened by her somewhere.
I think her testimony, if it comes in, will be devastating. I mean, the part about it's little things, Columbo stuff, little things, right? Put it on the bingo card. The threads pulling out, suggesting that whatever came in, came out, that wouldn't be glass. That wouldn't be polycarbonate. In fact, there'd be polycarbonate or glass probably in those clothes where they weren't. And we also learned today through Dr. Russell that whatever the ME's name was, apparently never really checked. I mean, I thought one of the things that came out today was that her report didn't say a hell of a lot about those puncture holes at all.
Exactly.
So the question is, if it wasn't glass that would come in or come out, what would come in? And again, with a small hole, mostly.
Yeah, it came in. It hooked in like
dog teeth. I think would be, something like that. That might do that. So,
absolutely, I agree with that. Like you said, it would, if it was plastic, polyester, whatever, glass, it would leave some kind of shatter or plastic or anything.
Yeah, no, I thought that was really effective with the right sleeve and the holes and what that could be. And again, those pulled threads, those are the little things. That's the kind of thing that can resonate with the jury. Say, how the hell would that happen if it was, glass? If there's all this incredible injury that happened on his arm and it's cut up and there's all the holes that generally correspond on the hoodie, which of course moves around and whatnot. Again, why was there no bruising? Why was there no this? And you add that to all the other evidence, the ARCA evidence, all these other things, you marshal it all together, you realize all they have to do is establish a reasonable doubt. Mm-hmm. I mean, you think that those injuries are, but they reasonably could be dog bites. I'm not saying you have to conclude they are. If you reasonably believe they could be dog bites or it could be a car, then she's not guilty. And we haven't even gotten to all the ARCA stuff and inverted video and butt dials and all the other, I hit him, or did I hit him? And, all that McCabe stuff and her statements and, all those text messages, the crazy stuff about, she's telling them everything. I mean, you could go on and on. You haven't even put that stuff all to the side.
All right.
If this Russell stuff comes in and she's able to explain all that, and the medical examiner can't explain it because, as we learned today, she never even analyzed it, well, that's an issue. One of the other things that came up today from her, and I'll confess, I don't study the trial. I go on what I remember, unless there's a reason not to. People said today quite clearly that at the trial, there was no evidence introduced one way or the other about what happened to John O'Keefe's socks. Okay, I don't remember. I don't know. And of course, the theory was if he took his shoes off because he was kind of a germaphobe and always doing that if he's walking around, and I know this, Mike, you know this as a dog person. I mean, I'm covered in dog hair like all day, every day, that there would be a good chance that there could be dog hair on the socks. And according to the autopsy report, which was discussed today, she noted, that he had socks. But apparently at the trial, nobody really mentioned or said anything about the socks. So where the hell are the socks? And the way it works from a medical situation, when he would have passed away and was going to be prepared for autopsy and all of that, all of his belongings are going to get packaged. Okay, they're going to get put in bags and sealed up, including his socks. And you and I both know damn well who's going to get custody of those. Guys named like Proctor, Buchanan, those kind of guys. Where the hell are the socks?
It's a good question.
That's a
really good question.
Well, I don't even remember this, but when it came out today that Dr. Russell said, I looked at the autopsy report and it's talking about socks and there are no socks, this is kind of a big deal. There's no logical explanation for where they could be. They have to be they should be, not have to be, because apparently
they should be with his belongings, like you said.
Where the hell are the socks?
Right.
And why would anyone get rid of those? The person to ask is going to be, Michael Proctor, most likely. But
yeah, I don't think you're going to get an honest answer out of Michael Proctor.
Well, I don't know that you're going to hear from him at all, because the real issue is going to be, it's going to come out. I mean, the medical examiner will be cross-examined, no question at this point about that. You observe socks. And I think there might have even been pictures of him wearing socks on the table. And what did you do with the socks? And what she'll probably say is, well, I don't have a specific level of recollection, but this is what we do. We package up everything. We give it to the investigator. Well, who was that? Michael Proctor. And if Proctor doesn't testify, oops. You're silenced again, I think, Mike.
Yeah.
It's weird. So, you can hear me now, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
StreamYard did it to me. Not even my system. It's weird. I saw that kept coming up. I don't know what's going on.
Is it the headphones since I put them in? Should I take them out?
No, it's me. But I'm fine now.
Because last night JFK said, wow, it sounds so better with those headphones. Even the chat was like, wow, 1,000 times better. So trying to keep them in.
Yeah, I want to ask you about a couple more things too. Like, actually, the thing we mentioned earlier about the shirt, like the holes. I think anyone that has ever been bitten by a dog recognizes what that is. Like, it's just that piercing. Like, it's like
That's not tail. First of all, look at the tail light. Well, back up. Look at the injuries, the gashes on the arms. Okay, they're long, right?
It would tear the material.
In the shirt are little tiny, almost like
it. Yep,
they're
like
not
a nail.
Right. I mean, look, like you said, if you're familiar with dogs and whether they bite shirts or blankets, that looks like what it looks like when dogs do that. And it's a lot of them. But there's also only, however many holes, 11, 12, 13. It's just hard for me to believe that a taillight that would have shattered into that many pieces in the span of what? I mean, it would be impact and then gone, right? You're not like taking the taillight with you. You're not rolling 20 feet, getting scraped by taillight. I just, none of this taillight stuff makes any sense to me at all.
No.
Yeah.
Like we said, there would be pieces of maybe the taillight embedded in the shirt,
I think it would be. But she never looked.
Right.
She wasn't thinking about it, but the reality is she never looked. And there are threads that did pull out. And, if the object went in and came out and there's no taillight pieces embedded in the shirt or caught in the snag, that makes perfect sense that it could be the teeth. And then you get to the whole like, well, there's no DNA, and you heard about all of that. But that all comes down to Proctor too. I mean, if he's the one taking the sample, if he told you today was Thursday, do you believe it without looking at the calendar?
No.
You probably shouldn't. So, any scientific test that originates with a source from him is going to be questionable. I mean, they're probably never going to call him. So how are they going to deal with this? And there is this pig DNA anyway, which, may or may not be from dog treats or whatever. But the bottom line is the defense is playing with the reasonable doubt standard. They don't have to prove. It's not like the Twitter crowd where everybody screams at each other and says, she did it. No, she didn't.
No, they got to prove her guilt.
That's right. That's all that is lovely for, yelling at each other and threatening lawsuits. But in a courtroom, one side and one side only has to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That's it. And if a jury thinks that she probably did it, she still gets acquitted. If they're instructed right and the lawyers say what they're supposed to say. So, there's big problems as most people who are not, from Canton or associated or friendly to certain people in this case generally believe. I mean, I don't know anybody in law enforcement who actually thinks that there's any case here. I understand you spoke to my friend Chris from my old days a couple of weeks ago. So, I didn't really watch that, but I heard about it. That guy's been a cop for 30 years, and I could tell you stories between him and other people. They don't see it. Like, experienced police don't see it.
No.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. We got someone else that we want to bring up. He's live from his event. He's going to be quick here because he's doing something else. But we got him up. Your buddy, JFK, show off.
Oh, my
in the
pilot.
green room.
Nice.
It's wild up in here. Can you hear me? Mic check to the gods.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, yeah, this is crazy. Check this out. This is nuts. What's going on over here? I'll give you a little taste of what's happening.
Nice,
Yeah,
man.
so we're backstage right now of what's going on at this crazy wrestling event. I'll show you a little bit of something. This is what
Is that West Side?
We get backstage
Up to the
wrestling.
people.
Hopefully no one-
Yo. Dime a ver, ¿qué lo que? Yo. We got Matt Cardona in the house.
What's going on? Where are we?
Yeah,
right.
we're on stream, yeah.
All right. I get paid for this too?
Yeah. We got Matt Hardy in the house.
Matt
No
Hardy.
way.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
up, bro?
You know
That's like
what I
a
mean?
real wow.
Yeah,
Yes,
this is a live.
JFK.
I figured I'd bring it to you real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How crazy is this? How crazy is this? Your man JFK. We can get into the rap room. We got Smoke Dizzle back here. Smoke Dizzle, what up, man?
Smoke
What's up? We got
Dizzle.
Smoke
Wow.
Dizzle up in here.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah.
You're living life.
Yeah, this is wild style, huh?
Yeah.
Bettero's probably like, what is JFK doing?
I want to know if Bettero knows who Matt Hardy
Hey,
is.
Yeah.
Hey, Bettero, if I get cuffed and stuff tonight, come get me, will you?
Far away at the moment, but
Yeah.
I think we're talking wrestling here. But
We got Enzo in the house.
No way.
Yeah,
Enzo,
yeah,
what's
yeah.
up? Gotta bring him back.
Oh,
WWE. He was the best.
Oh,
It's
see,
wild, right?
Wow.
Mikey, isn't that
It's
dope?
wild. Young jerks.
Terrible.
Hey, I just wanted to jump in here, and I wanted to say what up to the people. Your man JFK's out here working, and we know that was Higgins that called, and Bettero knows it was him. Right, Bettero?
the evidence would tend to suggest and lead you to believe.
We'll throw up the disclaimers.
Sometimes when it, as the word recently we all heard, when it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's usually a duck. So
Absolutely.
it sounded like him, as I said to these guys. When you have a hybrid Boston Townie accent that you try to cover up with a hybrid Brooklyn Southern drawl, something's not right. That's concealing something and then hanging up. A lot of circumstantial evidence, but you guys called it right away. So
Yeah, we called it. I knew it was him. And peace to everybody in the chat. Go subscribe to @JFK Show Off, my man Young Jerks. He believed in your man JFK. And and it's funny. It's just the way things are just organically coming together. And I love the fact that he called because it shows that he's breaking. You know, he's breaking. For a fact that an ATF agent called up a YouTube show, it's pretty wild when you think about it. Especially a witness in a murder case of a cop, of a Boston cop. It goes to show you something, something sitting not sitting right in his stomach, and that's what we wanted, right? That's what we want at the end. We want free Karen Reed, and we want justice for John, and that right there was a clear indication. So yeah, peace to my man Mike Crawford, my man Betterow, and James Jackson, and I'm having. And this room is full of smoke too, so I'm probably gonna contact here too. But yeah, nothing but love and peace. I just wanted to check in.
Congratulations, JFK, on everything. You're over 10,000 subs, and you're just doing great work. Thank you so much for calling in tonight.
Yeah, man, we had
wrestlers on it.
Hey, we had Matt Hardy on the free camera.
No, I can't believe that shit.
Yeah, I guess wait till you
Am I
see
going
the
to get a
content.
disclaimer later from him saying take that off? I didn't agree to be on that show.
So I just want to say a shout out to one person, Higgins. Hey, Higgins, did you see that? Matt Hardy knows that it was you.
Yeah.
You don't know Higgins.
Yeah.
Higgins, Seaside Higgins, Seaside. And with that being said, I'm up out of here, people. Nothing but love.
Thank you so much, JFK. JFK show off is the YouTube. We linked it in the chat. Check it out if you're not subscribed yet.
Yeah, Mikey, that's crazy, huh? I put it in the chat, JFK live, because he's going to be live on Shade 45 from 7 to 9. He's going live in 10 minutes on Shade 45. That's Eminem's radio station.
On XM, Sirius, yeah.
So yeah, we're working too, and he's getting good content there, and he's in Atlanta, and he's back here. That's why we got a lot of things going on, and it's just full circle. Mikey, like he said, you introduced him to this. We were already watching it, but look at how it comes full circle. Then our boy Turtle Boy. We talk on Aiden now, and
it's amazing.
I seen him ask my uncle this morning, did you hear about Higgins calling into the JFK show? And Alan Jackson just started laughing. Oh, man. That's hilarious.
I want to ask Betterow, did you know any of those wrestlers? Are you familiar with any of the wrestlers?
No, when I was, we're from a same generation.
Yeah.
I think. When I was younger, I was big into the old WWF. I mean, so I would go. I mean, I'm talking. I'd go to the old Boston Garden, sometimes the Worcester Centrum. I don't even know what.
Yeah.
There was one night in 1980, whatever, when the WWF was at its peak, and we saw Hulk Hogan at the Boston Garden, and I was, with my parents or whoever who I schnookered to take me there, and they were just in disbelief Hulk Hogan back then was a cultural icon of, the mid 80s, as big as it got. And, having gone to a million Celtics games back then when they were the best, and that place would get loud, that old dump of a barnyard, but it got 20 times as loud for Hulk Hogan. And it was just insane.
I'm a real American.
Yeah, when that came on, man, it gives you that feeling, right? Because the way it's a low pitch at first.
Yeah.
Ricky Steamboat, Snuka, all those guys.
Superfly, Jimmy Snuka.
Yeah, I don't watch any of that stuff now, and I
miss that. Ultimately,
a couple of the guys he had on tonight. That Matt Hardy. He was on a headline level for WWE, definitely.
Yeah, Enzo was in WWE for a while, wasn't he?
So long ago for me, literally, I couldn't tell you 5 guys doing
Enzo too. Enzo Amore. He was big time too. On WWE.
I know Oblivious is in the chat. She's loving that, huh? She's a big wrestling fan.
Who were some of the other wrestlers he showed on the screen? Because I didn't catch some of them, and I think I might know them.
I don't know if that first one wasn't No, I was thinking the Mexican guy there. What's his name?
I wonder who that was actually.
He was somebody. But I know. So it's a thing. West Side Gun is based. West Side Gun is Mikey, right? From Griselda.
No.
But you never heard of Griselda with West Side Gun, Conway the Machine, and Benny the Butcher. So they got a crew. It's Static works with them, does music. So this is something outside of the music. and he's doing a wrestling event. So
Very
JFK's
cool.
hosting it. He's live there hosting it.
Oh, he's
so it's
hosting
like
that thing.
yeah. So he's like you know how you get what's that guy sits at the table, Mike.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The
he's
announcer.
he's doing stuff like that. So that's
Awesome.
cool. Yeah, it's very cool.
I used to like when you say announcers, Gorilla Monsoon. Remember him?
Oh yeah.
And,
Mean Gene.
Oh yeah. I mean that's from. I could name a million.
Gorilla Monsoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gorilla Monsoon. Pandemonium is broken loose at the Garden. That was like his big thing.
Oh man, Mean Gene sold it well too.
Yeah. Gene Okerlund.
Yeah.
Awesome. That was crazy. When I saw Matt Hardy, I was like, "What?"
I
Are you
know,
kidding
right?
me?
You were like, "Bring him
Broken
back,
guy.
bring him back." That was
Matt
better
Hardy's
than Higgins
crazy.
calling in.
Better. He's like one of these hardcore wrestlers that
Yeah, he jumps off.
they would
the
do
hop.
like these backyard shit. Like
Yeah.
he made independent huge too, like all these other
Huge.
outfits and yeah.
Mm.
And then WWE had to have him back. Him and his brother. They were just
his brother.
Yeah.
I wonder if his brother was. I
How
think
do
it
you-
was just Matt there tonight, because I was supposed to be there with him, but you know something came up. But anyway,
Yeah.
he'll get
they
some
did that
content.
broken. Remember that one they did the one that was like outside or something? They did that huge match.
Oh yeah.
That was insane. There was explosions in the
Yeah,
ring. It was
they're
like-
always hurting. He doesn't mind hurting himself.
Yeah, they're too much. Almost
Yeah.
too much. I think that WWE got scared of them at times.
I know it, right? And he's still hurting himself out there, man. He's got to be at least 45, 50, maybe.
Yeah.
Oblivious. How old is Matt Hardy? She knows.
Yeah.
Broken. She said, Matt Hardy, what?
This has been a huge crossover show tonight. We got
I know
Betterow, we
it.
got wrestlers, we got JFK
You
show.
guys- yeah. James Jackson talking about Higgins calling in. This is crazy.
Yeah. I guess what else from court today? Anything else that we're missing that you guys could think of, either one of you, on what happened at court today? Because I felt like there was a lot.
I mean, it's all one issue, though. You know, it's like the never-ending Daubert hearing, which, again, don't know why they're doing it at all. The only other takeaway is to do this hearing piecemeal. You have 3 people coming in from California and 1 from New York. You know, there's a credible argument to say that this probably could have been done by Zoom, whatever. But to do this, not finish it, and then have to adjourn it, you know, another couple of weeks, make all these people come back, it's terrible to see. I mean, you know, again, the logistics are what they are with the court's calendar, but you know, you have, granted, they chose to be the lawyers in the case. The court may not have much concern about that, but for the cost to bring 2 lawyers and a witness from California again and again and again for this is astronomical and time consuming and tiring and expensive. And for what? To really talk about this witness's credentials, given what she did, seems like a colossal waste of time.
Yeah, they're doing a second hearing now in January. That's like have her fly back out again.
Having her fly back out again, you know, again at great cost, and then if she's permitted to testify, which I can't see any way that any judge could seriously rule on this, that she's not competent to give the opinion, then she'd have to come out again. I mean, this is.
I think Judge Bev's getting a kick out of it, watching Karen, you know, have to spend all this money.
The thing that bothers me, again, she ordered the hearing, so what are you going to do? The thing that I find troubling, I don't know if that's the right word, was that when this topic was first addressed the last time they appeared, however many weeks ago it was, and the DA said, we want to do this hearing, and the judge, for all intents and purposes, said, okay, even though they ended up having to file motions after. I would have thought at that point the judge would have said, I've already ruled on this. You're asking me to reevaluate this and to keep out an important witness. Can you make an offer of proof and tell me why I should even listen to this? Just so I can, before I start ordering people out here, tell me why I should do this. And she didn't. She just kind of, put it in process. And I think if the answer had been, well, we think her opinion has changed, I don't know what this judge would have done, obviously. But there are some judges who would have said, well, if that's your view, put it in writing. Let's look at it. Maybe we don't need a hearing. We don't need the witness. And in any event, if it comes out to you think that she's not her opinion is not reliable. Again, her opinion is not the issue. It's her qualification to render an opinion. Then just simply take that to the jury and you'll make your arguments very effectively. And instead, she just said, let's do this whole process, which I think is just, again, a just colossal waste of time, effort, energy, money, resources.
Absolutely.
My view, but not that anybody cares about it in terms of making decisions, but I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I just don't get. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
We got a comment from Kelly Reed. Just want to read it. She says, thank you, gentlemen. It's great to listen to your commentary. Happy that you all liked Attorney Alessi, and good to have a laugh with you all after the long day in court. Appreciate all. Free Karen Reed. So I'm glad she commented. That's Karen Reed's cousin.
Yes.
It's very good to hear from her.
Thank you, Kelly, and free Karen Reed.
And we're like an hour in. You had a long day today. I know you are all over Melanie Little. Do you need to go right now? I mean, I don't want to keep you longer than you need to be.
What time is it? I've got
it's like 7. So 6:59.
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
7:30 is the Celtics game, so that'll be my cutoff.
Okay, 7:30. I think that's perfect. What about you, James? Too? Because
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I just I got my dog. She's laying over here. Cool. So.
Me too. That's why I left for a moment. I think that's what screwed up my mic again too on the stream. Yeah, because the girlfriend's back and forth. She's doing the dog sit. So I had the dog in the kennel because he's been getting weird. And as soon as she comes home, he starts barking. So I may have to get up again too. Who knows?
That's all right. The dogs are everything, man.
Dogs are everything. They run even the show. They run the show.
Even when they don't even try to, they run it.
Yep. Someone said, what about getting a second dog bite expert? What do you think about that, Federer?
I mean, they can. I mean, I don't know that they need it, depending on what happens here, but nothing precludes them from, trying to pile on and leave it to the judge to say no. Look, if they have a qualified expert or experts who have the credentials, they have the chops, they pass a Daubert threshold and can offer an opinion that it's those are dog bites, then how are you going to keep that out? I mean, that's critical to their defense. I mean, that's not consistent with the DA's theory of her guilt. I mean, their theory is that those arm injuries are from the impact with the car, right? I mean, that's the only real evidence of impact they have. In fact, they had, apparently in their mind, the real expert, Trooper Paul, testify at the first trial that, our theory is that's got to be the point of impact from the taillight. Are they going to change that? I mean, are they seriously going to put up somebody different to say, no, what we really meant was this? So obviously, if the defense can destroy or at least create doubt, not even destroy, poke holes in the prosecution's theory about those arm injuries, how can a judge not allow them to do it? It's still America. You still have a right to present a defense, particularly one that is highly effective and entirely exculpatory. So, if that's what they want to do, then they can certainly try.
Thank you to the cat lady, a.k.a. the cat lady. I'm friends with her on Twitter, I believe, too. Thank you so much for the question. What's this one? Why didn't the defense ask Auntie Bev if they should stay past 4 o'clock and finish tonight?
Again, I don't know what the culture is. Look, I took great sympathy with Bob out of the gate, throwing himself at the mercy of, I don't know what's going on here procedurally. I'm trying to do this the right way. I'm from out of state. So, I sympathize with that. The Massachusetts culture and procedure it's different. Trust me, it's everything about it is different. The judge said, like, on her own, we're out of here at 4. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's, that's when Mr. Slate blows the whistle and Fred goes flying home to do other things. I don't know if it's the court officer union. They, turn into pumpkins at 4 o'clock. I don't know if nobody else just wants to work. I don't know. But you would hope that in a hearing like this, when you have all these people assembled from out of town, that you would find a way to get it done. But again, I don't know what the judge's schedule was with other cases or whatever, but it's just not an effective court I don't mean the judge, I mean the court, the culture of the court out there. It's not very effective in the time usage and that sort of thing. But I guess they could have asked, but I suspect she would have said, no, we have other things going on.
She needs to get to her martini, I think. But I think the word is parochial. We always use that word in Massachusetts. It's very parochial.
Look, I'm not going to speculate as to why, obviously, but 4 o'clock seems like an early shutdown. But that just may be the culture of the building. I don't know, but that's high.
Usually 4:30, I thought.
Well, where we are, it's 5, and at that point, the court officer union, that's all they have to do. There have been times where judges can ask them to stay, and the sergeant allows them, and this and that. I don't know what's going on here. All I know is it's regrettable that if you on a day like this with the out of town people, you ought to start at 9 on the dot, and you ought to go to the last minute possible if you can to finish it.
Right.
I think they started maybe 9:20, 9:25, and they shut it down at 4, and now they're all coming back, and that's the way it is. It's not effective, but that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what you think. Today, I felt like the defense on the last trial, they didn't bring out a lot of witnesses at the end. Today, it seemed like they had Robert and Alessi just kind of drill down and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. Am I reading too much into it? I feel like that they've realized that they need to do that. Like they need to.
No, I think that's correct. And I think, look, I also liked what Alessi did in the very beginning, which was very politely say, with all due respect to the court, we shouldn't be doing this. And at a minimum, we need a record from you telling us, so we have an appellate record preserved. Why are we doing this hearing? He was being very respectful, but what he was saying in English was, we shouldn't be here, but you haven't really told us a reason. In order to appeal, you need something to appeal. You need a reason from the court so you can say they're wrong. And after he made that record and Brennan had a chance to speak, what the judge basically said was, well, I ordered the hearing because I ordered the hearing and we're going to do it. So nothing really happened. It's just the way she did it. Nope, silenced again.
Sorry. This message from Nicole says your thoughts on Bev mentioning a possible appeal kind of points that she got the message.
Look, let's be honest. When you're the defense in a motion like this, and it's on direct examination, and you're doing the direct, the last thing you want to hear is a judge talking about possible appeal. But if the defense loses the right to call Dr. Russell, they'll definitely have an appellate issue. And if Karen Reed were convicted and her dog bite expert is excluded on the basis that the court deemed her not qualified for all the reasons that Daubert discusses, the issue again will be an abuse of discretion. And I'd say there's a pretty solid chance that they would win that because you're excluding an entirely exculpatory witness. I mean, this is powerful stuff. If the jury believes this witness, case is over. It's that important. But I don't think, whatever everyone's views of the judge aside are, that there's any basis for her to exclude this witness. And I wouldn't get hung up on what you saw at the end of today that, well, you know, the language of her opinion changed. That goes to her reliability of her opinion and whether a jury should credit it. It does not go to her background, methodology, and her current opinion, okay? Her current opinion is emphatically, in my view, these were dog wounds. I've told you why. There's no real reason to keep this out. Everything that the DA was doing today is proper cross-examination in front of a jury. This is not a reason to exclude the jury from ever hearing the testimony. I think that would be reversible error, even at the high abuse of discretion standard.
There was a question earlier about the mistrial last time. The jury won't be told about the mistrial, right?
No, but I mean, let's be honest. Do you seriously think there's going to be a single person called for jury duty who is not going to know that this is attempt number 2? And do you seriously think that there will be a single juror who will not know that I heard she was acquitted, whatever the court does, but that there was this issue of the jury basically wanted to acquit her on 2 to 3 counts? This is a problem for the DA. There's no way around this. This case is so high profile. Everybody talks about it. All this stuff gets, you know, covered online, on TV, in the newspaper, whatever. A huge problem the DA is going to have is that everyone will know that, you know, they tried her and she may very well have been acquitted for murder.
Absolutely. James, do you have a comment? Because I felt like I cut you off.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say. Now I forget what I was gonna say.
Like me.
Yeah, I do that all the time with JFK. No. So, did you guys hear Hank say to her, like, try to credit her on saying you don't qualify to testify in a federal court?
So what that was this. He's trying to establish that if you're so good at this or such an expert in this, why is it you've never testified about this issue before? That's a false equivalence, okay? That's not an entirely intellectually honest analysis, okay? It's, you know, dog bite injuries in a criminal case are not or even in a civil case, are not something that necessarily comes up all the time. Moreover, it would come up much less in a federal court just because the volume of cases in federal court is always going to be much less than in a busy state court. But, you know, there are doctors testify every day in all these kinds of trials, but you know, sometimes, like, for example, you get an expert who's a medical examiner who testifies about the cause and the manner of death. That happens literally every day in courtrooms all the time. If you were rendering an opinion as a forensic pathologist and you had never testified, you know, in a courtroom about it, that might carry a little weight with a judge. Like, well, how do I know this person is the real deal, so to speak? But the fact that she's never been called to testify about identifying whether wounds were dog bites, notwithstanding her clear expertise in the field, that carries much less weight. So implying that you've never done this, I mean, that may be literally true, but it's just not the kind of thing that comes up. Same thing when he tried to quantify that, you know, the dog bite cases that you've analyzed are less than 1% of every attending case that you deal with in the ER. Now, if you look at it from less than 1%, you say this is very rare. But when you realize she deals with 20 million cases, therefore, you know, she's analyzed 2,000 dog bite cases. Is that really not a lot? Right. That's a lot.
It's more than the average person.
It's a lot. It's enough to understand. It's enough to write or co-author these papers that have been, you know, peer reviewed and giving, you know, going to these seminars and this and that. Look, she's impressive. I know they don't like it. You know, she's a police officer, the first female police officer in Malden. You know, was an ER. She was also a forensic pathologist. Like what she says, when the DA, or Brendan, I guess he's not the DA, whatever you want to call him, the prosecutor, says, you're not an expert in self-defense. What kind of question is that? The reality is she spent time as a forensic pathologist. Okay, what do you think a forensic pathologist does when they have to deal with causes and manners of death? I mean, you ever watch Quincy? Remember that old
Quincy MD?
They're basically detectives with medical degrees, right? So it's true, an ER attending physician isn't overly worried about, well, those are defensive wounds and here's what happened. They're more worried about, are they going to bleed out and get infected? I get it. But she's also trained as a forensic pathologist. So they do investigate, and they are trained in, like, that is, a defensive thing. And even to her credit, she said, on top of all my training, there's something else that leads me to that conclusion. It's called common sense. They don't teach you that in medical school or law school. They teach you that on the street. I think any idiot understands that if somebody's getting attacked, they're going to go like that.
Absolutely.
And by the way, it's always going to be the back. It's never going to be the front.
Yeah, always.
Or posterior, as they say medically.
What's crazy you say that is when we were talking with Seaside, he said he has a German Shepherd that it was a trained dog. He said they're trained to jump
go
up
to the arm
and go to the arm.
And the cops are too. The cops are trained, right?
That's going to be a natural reaction to put your arm up.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's what he said, and he believes
it's a human reaction.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a dog walker. People know this. I get scratches. I've been bit. And it's always
there.
This.
Yep.
Sometimes they get me there's one friendly dog who sometimes gets me in the back. That's it. Because I turn my back, she jumps. She's friendly, but she's got claws. They got claws.
Yeah.
They can beat this over and over with Russell, but it's worth repeating because people really need to understand this. The fact that the prosecutor doesn't like her opinion, which of course they don't, it kills their case. I get it. But the fact that they think her opinion is not a good one, they're allowed to argue that to the jury. They're allowed to get their own expert. They're allowed to tear her a new one. If that's how you really want to do it with that tone, you're allowed to do that. But the stuff that was being asked today goes more to, again, her credibility in terms of the conclusion itself than her expertise and her qualifications to give it. Whether you believe her opinion or not is not the issue at a Daubert hearing, and that has to be pounded into people's heads again and again. The issue is, am I allowing this in my courtroom? Am I allowing a juror to even hear this? Because I don't want to be, prejudicial or make a mess of a trial and make a mistake. The judge is a neutral arbiter. They're not supposed to care. Just, I need to know, is she qualified? And if she's qualified, I don't care what the opinion is. Jury can hear it. And then the other side is allowed to cross-examine, tell the jury why I don't believe it, call their own expert. That's what's called a fair trial. That's how it works. It would deprive Karen Reed of a fair trial if this witness was excluded, at least based on what you've heard so far. They haven't finished the cross. Got to give, let them be fair. But this idea that her opinion, according to the DA, has changed a little bit, that goes to the weight, not her ability to render an opinion.
Yeah. Well, like you said, don't you think, I think they should have just kept this to themselves then. If they didn't want, no jurors could see it. Why did they have the whole public do this if they're just going to repeat it and do it all over again?
Well, I think from the prosecutor's standpoint, they're, if they can knock out the witness, they will, because if this witness comes in, it's going to be devastating. And, you're also seeing something else. And I remember saying this months and months ago. A retrial is going to go to the advantage of the defense. Never mind the nonsense some people will tell you on Twitter and whatever about what a huge advantage this is for the prosecution. You saw today why that's wrong. They actually had a chance to prep Dr. Russell. They didn't really have much of a chance. She kind of came up in the middle of nowhere, and it was kind of a fire drill, right? Well, now they really dig in. And let's be honest, her communication and explanations today were immeasurably better than they were at the trial. And the just because she was better prepared, just because she could be. That's going to happen with all their witnesses. Okay. The evidence is not going to get better for the prosecution. It's only going to get worse.
That's such a great point. That's something I saw today too. Like I was just watching it, and that occurred to me today. It's like she's better this time, and this is what Mark was saying. The defense always has an advantage the second time. I could see why.
Not only that, do you seriously think, with the benefit of time, you're giving lawyers like Alan Jackson, David Unetti, and Bob Alessi now all this time, all that, and Liza Little, 4 lawyers of that skill, all this time and ability to prepare, okay, and think this through, versus one guy, essentially, who's like running a fire drill. We're not even sure if he's watched the trial. It appears he's getting no help from his colleagues. He's actually started the hearing without them after lunch. You just don't worry about it. Let's go. They don't even need to be here. Which, by the way, I thought that was a bad look. A team is a team, and you gotta stick together. I thought that was a bad look. I also thought, again, this is all just like lawyer stuff. On the prosecution side, Brennan introduced the other lawyers. I'm Hank Brennan and I'm with these guys, as opposed to the defense lawyers who all introduce themselves.
Right.
Again, none of this means anything, but the optics of that and starting without them after lunch, there seems to be, and kind of Lally just sitting there.
Yeah, I think it means something, though. It shows they're all one in their, they're a team, like you said.
There's a disconnect there, and as opposed to this defense team who, even with lawyers all have egos, right? You have a lot of powerful lawyers. There's always going to be egos, but they were very relaxed, very comfortable, huddling up. There's very different optics of how these two teams are operating in a courtroom. And I again, all this extra time, adding the lawyers, what's going on. Yeah, Lally chewing gum in court. That's the sign of a lawyer who knows I have nothing to do. I assure you, any lawyer who is prepared for court that has something going on is not chewing gum. That's a fact. But putting that all aside, all of this extra time is going to benefit the defense, and it's okay to give the DA extra months to prepare. It's fine. They can't change the evidence. They can present it perhaps in a better way, in a more articulate fashion with a more skilled lawyer, but that does only go so far. But you saw today that when you give real lawyers real time, as opposed to a fire drill, it's going to be better. So what do you think the case is going to be with like the ARCA guys, for example? That was a fire drill too.
Yeah.
That's
Especially
not
going to
gonna,
get to talk to them now, right? Hopefully.
That's not going to be a case. All that examination at the first trial about the inverted video, that was done on the fly. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You didn't have a chance to think that through. How do you think that's going to come out when Jackson has a few months to think that through?
To prepare for that one. Yeah, he's caught that, right?
Yeah.
He caught that during the trial.
But imagine actually thinking it through and looking at the transcripts and preparing it with other evidence. These guys, look, there's a reason why they're at the level they are at the profession they're in. And that time is just going to help them. No question. And you saw that today.
That waterfall video too. That's another one
that's another perfect example. For whatever reason, that just never came out. I don't know if they missed the boat or whether it just whatever. Sometimes you miss things. It does happen.
Sometimes I think it's a crowd discovering stuff, and
it could be
making it known.
Well, he did say it, but I just think I don't know. He said, "Make sure you watch this part."
They talked about like the grab ass, but Mike, you just said something really important. This case is so rare for another reason. There's an army of like, a million
shows, the audience, and a million people.
I would bet the farm. I mean, I don't know. I'm not privy to what they're doing or how they're going to handle this, but I'm, understand how intelligent lawyers think and reevaluate. I would think at a retrial, the waterfall video stuff that, you guys talked about and the stuff that Microdots had previously put out, that's going to be a couple of hours at least. And they're going to play that. I mean, the words I use are like Zapruder film style. I mean, that is a frame by frame. And then you're going to sync that up with the time on the frame, with the time on Higgins's phone, when you see him texting, what he's texting, what he's denying, and his testimony when he said, I left without, no, there were no problems, nothing. I just left. Meanwhile, he's doing this.
Yeah. He said, I didn't say goodbye to anybody.
These guys are going to get clobbered with the waterfall video that, the witnesses at a retrial. Clobbered.
Question about the scheduling. They want to know, is it normal for a judge to be inflexible in setting a new date for the next hearing?
Each judge is different. I don't know what her schedule is. I don't know if she has court business. I don't know if she has family business. I don't know if, she's taking care of a sick relative. Look, every judge does it their own way. It's her courtroom. She can do it however she wants. We can agree or disagree, but I can tell you, when you deal with judges, you're at the mercy of how they do it and what lawyers do. And you saw these guys do it. I'm sure they're biting their lip. They don't like it. In their mind, they're thinking a lot of things they're not going to say publicly, probably. But you know what? Their toes are tapping. They do what they're told. They show up when they're supposed to show up. And then they show up with the goal of kicking some ass and going home. I mean, you just have to do it. It is what it is.
We got just a couple more minutes with Betterow. Gonna throw the phone line out there. Maybe take one call with him. 978-560-3155.
I'm fine hanging out. I'm enjoying this tonight.
Okay.
Nice.
I know you get the Celtics stuff too.
I'll put them on in the background. It's all right. I'm not. It's Thursday night in December against the Pistons. It's
Yeah.
It's not the biggest game.
You know what? We'll put on League Pass on the TV, and
you get to watch. See, that's the key. I need a monitor over here where I can watch TV.
Yeah, me too. I have mine behind me. I gotta put it right there.
Yeah.
Well, I think we joked about this like during last year in the playoffs. Like, why is he always looking, watching what's going on? But yeah, no, it's fine. Go ahead.
We got the phone number right there on the screen: 978-560-3155.
Just make sure you.
Who we gonna get? Yeah.
Maybe we'll get Higgins.
I think we got somebody right now. Are you there? Oh, don't tell me it's not working. Hello? Yeah, it's doing that thing. Sometimes it doesn't work. Let's try it again. What is it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You guys don't have this issue because you use a different thing than we do. You don't.
Yeah, but what he uses is I can hear them, but they can't hear me, so I can't talk with. Yeah, that's no good at all. We got to figure that out.
It's connected, but it's not working. It's the Bluetooth. I'm gonna try it again. It may take me a while. You guys have anything else you want to bring up while we're trying to get this to work? Of course, I can't even get to my phone because it's ringing off the hook, so I'm gonna pull the phone number off the screen. I got to reset the whole thing.
I'm going to go grab a soda or water. I'll be right back.
That's perfect. Perfect timing for it.
Intermission. Come here, baby.
Yeah, it's a little intermission. This is what we go through when we're trying to set these phone lines up. It's funny because it's been working like every time recently, but of course tonight it doesn't work.
Oh, baby girl. Oh. You tired? All right.
There we go. It's working. I'm calling them back.
Hello?
Hi, you're live on the Young Jerks. Were you just calling us?
I was.
Awesome. Your Mark just stepped out to get a drink because we were messing with the phone.
I saw that.
But what's your name? Who's calling?
Mary Ann from Mass.
Mary Ann from Mass. I saw that. That's why I called you back out of like the 5 numbers. I was like, this is a Mass caller, so I'm calling her back right away. So Mary Ann, Betterow is here and James is here. What do you got for us tonight?
I wanted to know about why did Brennan push the orthopedic or orthodontist or whatever he was
Orthopedic.
talking about?
Orthopedic.
Orthopedic. So what would that mean? Every emergency room doctor would have to be certified in orthopedic?
No, what he's doing, I mean, orthopedic obviously is bones, which could relate to bruising and fracturing. And the point he's trying to make is that Dr. Russell had said, as a medical expert in an ER, and I think any, frankly, 15-year-old on the street could tell you this, that if somebody got smashed in by a 2-ton vehicle at 25 miles an hour in the forearm area, that in addition to getting any cuts that arguably you might get, one might expect to be a lot of bruising and a fracture even. And I think his point was to try to minimize that conclusion of a classically trained medical doctor who spent years in one of the busiest ERs in America and did a million autopsies, whatever the number is, that because she's not board certified as a specialist in orthopedics, that somehow that doesn't give much credit to her conclusion. That's not going to hold any water with anyone who, again, applies common sense and understands that a doctor trained in emergency medicine and forensic pathology is more than capable to say that I have treated how many car accident cases. And she even said, I'm right next to the freeway. I mean, in LA, she's, God only knows. And that, we usually see a lot of bruising and a lot of fracturing. And in this case, we saw none. So that's what he was trying to do. It was very effective. Not that.
We're screwed because Bev has no common sense.
Oh, I mean, I don't think she's going to be able to keep this witness out. Not yet. Anyway, the cross-examination's not over, but I don't think that'll happen.
And how do you feel about them helping her write her paperwork? Can they hold that against her? Or
No.
say, she can't do it on her own. She needs help, or
no. What lawyers often do is review things and suggest reorganization or whatever. She was transparent about it. She didn't, so I didn't do it. She said it. She said it was not substantive. And I thought actually what he was trying to get was if there are other drafts of the report that I don't have, that I'm entitled to them, more than suggesting that the lawyer did something untoward in helping her draft the report. I think it was more of a discovery device to see if there were other versions floating around out there. And she said no. And that was the end of that.
Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Betterow. Sure. Goodbye, jerks.
Goodbye.
Bye.
I love that. Goodbye, jerks.
Right. We call worse. It's all right.
Yeah. I love it. Or Young Jelly. Young Jelly. Maybe Kevin will call in. We're getting all the Mass numbers tonight. Massachusetts number. Who's calling?
Hey, Mike, it's Denise from New Hampshire.
Denise from New Hampshire. You got a Mass number, but you're from New Hampshire. What's going on?
Yeah, because I'm from there.
Yes.
I'm from there.
Like a lot of people
Mike,
from New Hampshire.
I didn't watch your show. I know. I didn't watch you today. I'm so sorry. I went with I had to go with the law daddy.
Oh, Melanie Little and Mark Betterow is a good choice.
I did.
I don't blame you.
And if you watched. Did you watch it? You didn't watch them. So
no, I was streaming my own. I can't. Yeah, I can't do two things at once. I would have if I wasn't streaming. I would have watched them.
I know you would have. I thought Mark was going to go through whatever he was watching. At a couple of times, I could just see him going, and his facial expressions were like, "Are you kidding me?" And it was just. I wanted to cry I thought they were trying to make her cry. And I just wanted to cry for her.
Well, you're not going to make a woman who went to MIT in 1970, who I can't tell you she's like one of one, but probably not many women, who then joins the Boston Police Academy in the early 70s, and then ends up joining the department as the only female officer, who then becomes a medical doctor at the level that in other words, she's pretty tough.
She's brilliant.
Yeah.
She's brilliant.
Like Bill Russell. First of one-on-one.
The biggest tell of her decency today is actually when Brennan said, if you're testifying honestly and earnestly, then why? Which again is code word for saying, I think you're full of shit, which is a terrible thing to say to somebody like her. She audibly gasps as if to say she was stunned that he would even challenge her integrity like that. I mean, that was the most honest reaction that someone like her could have. You're not going to cry. Listen, she is who she is. She's got more credentials than anyone in the courtroom, frankly, including the lawyer, right? She's about as impressive.
I wanted to cry.
Well, look, I think a lot of people were stunned by his demeanor with a witness like that. There's lots of witnesses you might go at and get all snarky with, but I don't think I've ever seen a prosecutor particularly come after a credentialed medical doctor with her pedigree to suggest that she's lying because they don't think she's qualified to testify. That was stunning to me.
It was just such a cheap shot. And we have to remember, she called them. She called the defense team. They didn't call her. She called them and said, look, I think, I know my stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that Lola?
That's Lola.
Oh.
Lola. They had a Lola, Denise.
Oh, she's going on the bed. You want to come up
Denise,
here?
do you listen to us?
Lola.
Yeah, you know Lola?
Where is she?
You listen to us when Bettero's on all the time?
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Come here.
Of course I do.
The crowd wants.
I thought that poor Lola didn't go out for a walk all day. He was on the. Well, he might
she
have at
misses
1
her
o'clock.
daddy.
She might have at 1 o'clock
Look at
when we took a
that.
break.
Look at that.
All right.
Look at this.
Oh.
See,
She's beautiful,
the best.
huh? She
I
loves
love
Daddy.
Lola.
She loves Love Daddy too.
Well,
Look at that.
Lola.
Hey, Lola.
Oh
She's
my
a good
God,
girl,
Ma.
huh?
I want to give
How
her a
old
treat
is she,
right now. I
Mark?
got a treat in my hand.
Isn't he a good daddy?
She's 5, nice.
Oh,
The big girl
look.
is 8.
So,
The big girl
Ma, if
doesn't
somebody
get-
tried to go near you,
The
if
big
somebody
girl
went near you and started shit with you, would that dog go after them?
I'm sorry?
They want to know if the dog would defend you if someone had started,
Yeah.
approach you physically.
Oh, my dogs, of course. My lab would try to rip someone's head off, of course.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, my dog, my shepherds would too.
yeah.
They would go after somebody. If one of the family members somebody was coming after us, they'd go right after them, just like Chloe, right?
Yep. Even little dogs do that.
And they're not
Yeah.
trained to do
Little
that. That's
dogs,
just their
yeah.
instinct.
Yeah, it is. Even the little dogs will do that. It's all, every
Yeah,
dog.
yeah.
They're little ankle
some dogs are
biters.
so passive they might not, but I'd say the majority of dogs will do that for their owner.
Yeah. Dogs too, James?
Yes, this one over here, she's watching everything I do.
Yeah.
She keeps looking at me and giving me those
Yeah.
little puppy eyes. I'm trying not to pay attention to her. Stop giving me those puppy
Yeah.
eyes. She's so
Yeah.
cute. She's
They're
a
good
Wheaton
pets.
Terrier.
They're good pets when they're good pets, right?
Yeah.
And
You
you
know-
don't just get rid of them.
Yeah.
How do you just get rid of
And call
Lola?
it
How
an
do
it.
you do that? You
Yeah.
just can't.
Denise,
Yeah.
that's such a good point.
And
Right.
call it an it.
We do meet and greets as dog walkers, where we meet the customer with their dog.
Yeah, yeah.
And oftentimes we have
to.
to tell the customer, this is the worst we'll see of your dog, because the dog is protective of them when we're meeting them. The dogs can get actually weird.
Yeah.
And we'll go to the same house later when the owner's not there and the dog's totally fine because they were protective of a
Yeah.
stranger being in the house. That's how they really are. That's the behavior.
I know. So if if a person knocks at the door and I'm babysitting my grandchildren and I go to the door, that dog is between, their shepherd is between me and the door to protect those kids.
100.
But it is. And I'll say, wait a minute, I put the dog outside and then I let the person, I open the door.
Yeah. And especially on someone,
You know, it's just what you can do.
if they haven't met that person
If they don't know them.
yeah,
I mean,
if that person's
Yeah,
been
if they
around
don't
10
know
times, they're like, okay. But if it's the first
Right.
time, they
Right.
definitely get like that. Such a good point. Thank you for calling tonight, Denise. So you listened to the
all right.
show
And
off
James,
with Better O?
great job last night. Wonderful job last night, James and JFK.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Loved
Thank
every minute of it. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you so much. Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, we try to have fun on our show, but we also try to point out the facts and stuff that we think of facts.
If you're calling in, you got to turn down your computer or whatever you're listening to on. Hi, who's calling? You're live on the show. Who's calling?
Hey, this is Dave from Pennsylvania.
Dave, what's up from Pennsylvania?
Not much. Just getting cold here. Hey, I just wanted to call in and give my opinion. I think Brennan wasn't trying to disqualify her. I think he's trying to get a bite of the apple, as they say, and find out what she's going to testify in the next trial.
Yeah, other than he got a report, which tells him what she's going to testify if allowed to. So, I mean, you could be right, I suppose, but, they're obligated to disclose her report. He had it, and that report would highlight everything that she concluded and whatnot. So I don't know. I think they're trying to keep her out. I don't think they have a very strong argument to do so, but I think they clearly must recognize that if she's allowed to testify and a jury is even willing to consider it, they're screwed. I mean, if a jury can't exclude dog bites as being the cause of those arm injuries, that is almost by definition that there is reasonable doubt as to that being caused by a car, and then you go from there. It's a problem for the prosecution. So, they're trying to keep it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
And also, would it be better for her to say in her response that when she reviewed her materials for the report, it helped her firm up her opinion on the dog bite?
I guess, but I mean, if I understood her correctly, she said my opinion hasn't changed. I just, I was thinking more like I'm talking to medical people, and we never, they're scientists. Nothing is absolute to a scientist, right? I don't know. So I think what she was saying was that in medicine, we just are never 100% certain. So the language that she was using didn't really convey what she meant to say, although her opinion has always been what it was. I mean, that's what she's saying. And again, the DA can agree or disagree, but that's for the jury. That's not to exclude her. It's just the wrong forum to have that argument. That's all.
Thank you, Dave.
Yes, I understood. You're welcome, and thank you for the good show, and thank you, Mr. Betterow, for being on with Melanie a little earlier today.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Have a good night, Dave.
Have a good night, Dave.
We're taking calls. Got another local call, a Massachusetts call. Turn down your speaker in the background, please. All right. And, I mean, we got one after another local tonight. Hi,
Hello?
you're live on the show.
Hello?
Hi, you're live on the show. What's your name?
Oh, this is Jimmy. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find my remote to turn down the TV.
Sounds good, Jimmy. What's your comment or question tonight?
What's up, James? It's Jimmy. It's from Lynn.
Oh, Jimmy. What's up, man? That's
Can you hear me?
JFK.
Seems like you guys can't hear me.
No, we can hear
I
you.
wanted to say, tell Mr. Betterow that. Listen, I'm no attorney, but I've spent a lot of time in that law library. James, you know.
Yes,
I couldn't believe, Mr. Betterow, the abuse of discretion that I'm seeing out of her, making them do that hearing again. I can't even believe it. I was watching you tell the viewers about what a good appellate issue that's going to be, and my God, I hope we don't ever have to see it, but it would be one hell of an issue, huh?
Well, I don't think you're going to see it for two reasons. Number one, notwithstanding what 90% of the people who listen to this think of the judge, or I should say 95%, I think she's still going to allow it just because there's really no choice. And number two, whatever she does, even if she denies it, I don't think there'll be an appeal because Karen Reed's not going to get convicted anyway. So there'll be nothing to appeal.
Right. When I was watching it, I'm thinking like, what's the Brennan, right?
Yes.
I was watching it earlier. I was watching the hearing, and I'm saying to myself, all the questions that he's asking her have nothing to do with Daubert. They all have to do with what the jury's got to decide.
It's 100%.
Well, I think he's trying to trip her up, maybe for later during the trial. Right?
Yeah, I mean, only because I don't think the questions, at least so far, I mean, he's not done, so let's be fair to the process. He hasn't yet really addressed anything that challenges the Daubert standard or would leave a reason for a judge to say that this witness is not qualified to give an opinion on this subject matter. I mean, I know I'm repeating myself, but everything he's cross-examined so far has been just to say that I don't think her opinion is a reliable one, which is just another way of saying I don't agree with it. And
right. And that's something for the jury, isn't it?
Exactly. That's a fact question. The judge is being asked to consider a legal question, whether she's qualified to do it. And he's challenging her factual conclusion, which, it's similar, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jimmy, for calling in tonight.
I get it. I've had a Daubert hammer. But thank you, Mike. Thanks for taking my call. It was tough getting in there.
Thank you.
Good night,
Thanks,
guys.
Jimmy.
Good night, James.
Have a good night, Jimmy. That's Jimmy. Yeah.
He's had a Daubert here. He's had the hearing.
Well, anybody says I'm familiar with the law library.
We should have probably kept him on longer. I know. There's so many people calling in. I want to try to get some of them because
he knows Jimmy's a good guy.
Yeah, we're trying to take quick calls. Please turn down whatever you're listening to it on. All right. Who's
Hi,
calling?
Mike, am I on?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
My name is Amanda. I am from Beverly. How are you?
Good, Beverly, and I didn't get the name. Sandra, was it?
Amanda.
Amanda.
Yes, from Beverly. I guess my question was for all of you. Why do you think Brennan was talking about wild dog bites and not taillight?
I mean, he might have been trying to say there could have been maybe coyotes around or something. I don't know why he said that. What do you think, Mark?
I think he, again, was being snarky and silly because it was in the context of Dr. Russell's original written opinion, which was a large animal and possibly a large dog. And then he said, well, how do you know it wasn't, another type of animal? Did you know? And of course, that's not even a proper question because how the hell could she know? She wasn't there. And that's when it led to Brennan making, I think, probably the regrettable analogy about, was there a pack of wild animals inside 34 Fairview, which, let's not all name call, but just let's also recognize that that's regrettable language given the public tone and commentary on the case that invites, a certain level of humor to certain people to say
right.
what that was. I think what he was suggesting thing was, if you said it could have been a large animal other than a dog, how do you know it wasn't this or that? I mean, it's all kind of nonsense.
What do you think, Amanda?
Wonderful. Yeah, I just wondered why he didn't mention taillight. Instead, he went with other animals.
I don't know.
Because she said, in her opinion, initially, her written opinion, a large animal, possibly a dog. And he was saying, "Oh, what? Why? In other words, you didn't say dog, like has to be dog, like you're saying today. So, what other wild animals? Was there a pack of wild animals inside 34 Fairview? That kind of
right." He was being snarky.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amanda.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you, Derek. Bye.
Bye.
I asked the dog animal behaviorist that we've worked with, showed him the picture without any context. I said, "What do you think this is?" He said coyote or dog bite with dog scratches. So, I mean, it could be,
Coyotes are close to a German Shepherd.
That the coyote's going to bite him on the arm? I don't buy it. I don't buy
that doesn't make coyote would chew it off.
Oh, yeah.
Then we'd probably chew for the neck, too, first. The open skin. Hi, who's calling?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
How are you guys?
Good. How you doing? What do you got for us today? Your name and what your comment or question?
My name is Cass. I'm calling from North Jersey, actually. I don't want to beat a dead horse as far as this case. Can I go just a little off topic really quick? Ask you guys thoughts on something going on right now?
If it's quick.
Yeah. Have you seen about the drones flying in the sky over in Jersey?
Yeah, I have.
What do you guys think about that?
I've seen all the drones. Believe me, if you see what's going on, it's pretty freaking wacky to go out at night and see them flying around. I don't know what to make of it, but it's weird in this area right now. It is.
Yeah, you're in New York, right?
I'm in New York, New Jersey. Believe me, we all see the drones here. I see what you see.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm right by the Picatinny Arsenal, and man, I don't know what to think of it. I was just curious if you guys had any thoughts on it.
I have seen that.
What was coming out of the? Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, what are you seeing? Because we're not seeing it.
We're in Boston.
You see green and red lights that are too low for airplanes, and you see a few of them.
Yeah, no, there's
you're not seeing.
There's a dozen of them.
It doesn't look dramatic per se, but they're clearly drones, and they've been out many nights in the past few weeks, and it's weird.
Could you reach them with a baseball?
We're seeing them every night.
Every night. They're higher than that. They're not 20 feet up there, but they're not airplane height either.
And what they're showing video too, other people sending drones after them, and those drones immediately, a full battery goes to no battery, and the drone crashes. It seems like the government doesn't give any information about what's going on here, which is really bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It is.
That is weird. Good question.
It's a little spooky. All right.
Are you afraid? Are you a little bit frightened? Is it keeping you up at night, stretching you out? I'm guessing it must. I would be a little what's going on?
I got it. If I'm being honest with you, I'm not afraid, to be honest, but I'm suspicious because I just don't understand. They're saying it's not man operated, but how do they know that? They're not telling us anything. We're calling our local. There's only one local PD that's basically been honest, and they're like, we don't know, but everyone's just like, we don't know anything, but it's not a threat. And how do you know it's not a threat then if you don't know anything? And that's why we're all just like, what's going on? Because every night we look out in the sky and there's 12 of these massive drones, and allegedly they're coming over the water, over the towards the coast, and everyone's saying something different, and we don't know, and it's a little weird. I'm not gonna lie.
They've been near military bases. They've been near the Bedminster Country Club, which is Trump's country club. Yep. Again, this is not a political thing, but it's where he hangs out.
It could be cameras and eye in the sky. That's all.
Probably what it is, but
it's
it's a little concerning.
I'm about 10 minutes from the military arsenal over here, and there was a bunch of police out, and they won't tell us if the police are out for them or for something different, but it's interesting. I won't keep you guys, but thank you very much, and I appreciate all the good work. Mike, you followed me on Twitter. You made my whole year, man. Thank you, and be good, everybody.
You too.
And
Good
happy
call.
holidays.
You too. Good call from New
All
Jersey.
right.
I really appreciate you. Thank you for calling.
Happy holidays.
All right, take it easy. Bye-bye.
All right, Kaz.
Bye-bye.
Competing with what is that? Coast to coast.
I know George Norrie or Art Bell. We got Netherlands calling in now. Netherlands. This could be the Broken Bake. No, is he from? I get confused.
He's from Denmark.
Yeah, I get confused. He's gonna get mad at me now.
I think I made it into the show, didn't I?
Yeah, you're live on the show.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
This is Nora from Amsterdam, the Netherlands.
Hello.
Nice.
Hi. It's actually extremely late here. It's almost 2 a.m. My time the next day. But I love watching your show, and I'm actually very glad that I caught this live and I could actually call, because it's almost like I'm watching the show and then I don't have time to call because it's
late.
Very, very late. So I'm very glad.
Well, I'm glad you stayed up for it. Do you have any comments or questions for any of the guests tonight?
Yes, I am. First of all, hi, Mark. Hi, James. I'm really glad that I could make a point here when I want to emphasize on the fact that this case has gathered the attention not from the U.S. only, not from your continent, not from only Europe, from everywhere. And I made a comment one time on the group on Facebook, and a lady, she commented from a city that I only passed by in the Netherlands. It was almost like a town. I was astonished by the fact how far this case has reached.
Worldwide.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, and it's amazing. I really don't have a specific question for you guys. I just love what you do, and I'm glad that I got to have a call one time on this call and just let you know that what you guys do is unbelievably amazing. And you are so appreciated. And I think I sound so fucking nervous right now because I am not used to.
Congratulations for getting through it.
Yeah, I just, I was watching the hearing today, obviously. I think my obsession with this case is getting, I wouldn't say it's a little unhealthy, but it just, sometimes it consumes me with the ignorance and the ego of some people. Like, I was thinking to myself today when I was watching that if Brennan would just say, we are, dropping the charges, I would applaud for him.
Oh, yeah.
I would be like, I respect you. You are doing the right thing. But at this point, I don't really think anyone of them would do this. I don't think anyone has the humbleness and the acceptance of you can lose something. You don't have to win all the time. You don't have to, especially when the whole world is watching, your whole country is watching. And yeah, I was watching today and I was thinking to myself, I love Marie Russell. She's just amazing. And I think that she was well prepared this time, even though she's so kind to the point that I feel like she doesn't have it in her to be a little aggressive. She did come, she did clap back once, I think, when she said you should read it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she had a little spunk at the end a few times. It's a long day and she's getting yelled at and being called a liar. It's human nature at some point to push back a little bit, but her composure was very good.
Thank you for calling from Amsterdam.
The first time. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for taking my call. I really appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
You too. Keep watching and call again.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. We'll take one more caller.
Yes.
The phone's ringing off the hook. This is Worcester now. We got a Worcester back from Netherlands to Worcester. Who's calling from the Worcester area? Hi.
Hi. I used to be in Worcester area. Now I'm in Western area, Berkshires.
Excellent. And what do you got for us tonight? What's your name, if you don't mind asking?
No. It's Helen.
Helen.
I have a question for the doctor lawyer here. So I'm from Brazil, and I don't understand much the law in the United States, but I have a question. If you lie on the stand and that is on a record, can the judge bring you to jail right then and right there?
Not in America. Perhaps in like Maoist China in the old days. But what would happen is if you perjure yourself, there'd have to be a prosecutor who would file charges, and you could be prosecuted for lying under oath. It's not an easy charge to prove, but it can happen. But you wouldn't literally just get hauled to jail because the judge, summons the marshal to say take him away. No, there's still a process and a civilized way of doing it. It would not be, the Queen saying off with their heads and take them away.
But would they still be credible?
So bummed. I thought.
Well, somebody who gets arrested and convicted for perjury, I think that's tough to be credible. If you're literally a convicted liar, that's pretty tough.
Right.
You have more credibility.
Oh, I'm so bummed. I thought Colin was gonna go to jail because he lied.
Well,
he said he never got in a fight before.
Well,
and we have 2 videos of him fighting.
Well, perjury is also very tricky because in order to be charged with perjury, it has to be material. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure Colin, whether he lied or didn't lie. I'm not getting into that, my own view of that right now. But about lying about something like that would necessarily be material to, the issues in the case. It could be. It's not clear. I guess I'd have to think about it some more, but he's not going to get arrested for that. I mean, there's no prosecutor that's going to arrest him for something like that, especially, well, I guess there is some proof there were these,
especially that he's friends with Meatball.
Yeah, they want him to testify probably again too, right?
Hey, look, he's a witness in multiple cases, right?
Right.
I mean, look, he's made some videos that are probably regrettable for him that are online, just about, being a knucklehead and saying things that I think anybody would be embarrassed to say. But does it lead to him getting prosecuted for perjury or anything like that? No.
Okay, no, that was my only question.
Thank you for calling, Helen.
Thanks, Helen.
Oh, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Definitely call again. Have a great night. I said one more call. We're at 8:00. I think that's it. And what do you think? It's already ringing.
No, it's fine.
You want to take one from Atlanta? We'll take one. This is Atlanta.
Atlanta.
JFK's in Georgia, and you showed me the Hottie Boys, right?
Yeah, that was him.
You're there with him?
Yeah.
He got a picture of the Hottie Boys tonight.
That's awesome.
Hey, you're calling from, I think, Atlanta, Georgia. Who's calling?
Yeah, this is Rick. I used to live up your neck of the woods.
Nice to hear from you.
In Connecticut.
All right. What do you got for us tonight?
Well, 90% of me tells me that he's not guilty, okay? And 10% is very weird about it. Now, I'm going to tell you a story what happened. My father, in 1980, got run over by his own truck. It popped in reverse. Back in 79, 78, the trucks had problems popping in reverse. And what had happened was, when the truck pulled him underneath the undercarriage, the exhaust system had the mufflers, where you have the brackets around the pipes. And my father got the same frickin' marks like John McGill got on his arms.
Yeah, but he didn't go under.
I was there when this happened.
Do you have any broken bones?
Yeah, right underneath the truck.
Do you have any broken bones?
When he got out of it, of course, it broke his back. But don't forget, the tire went over on top of him. Okay, the sternum. The ribs and the center of his back was broken, right, back then?
I think it's a
Yeah.
collarbone.
Yeah. Got broken. So
How
and this
how
was a
fast do you
pickup
think
truck.
that car was? Did they say how fast the car was going when he got hit?
Well, I'll tell you how fast. I was there. What had happened was we're in Houston, Texas, working, and it's a 2-lane. This truck popped in reverse, and we're standing at the Esplanade, which is about 30 feet away, 20 to 30 feet away from the shoulder of the road to the Esplanade. When we seen the truck coming, we scattered. What happened was the truck hit my dad, and the back bumper pulled him down underneath the truck. Okay? I was standing there. The back tire, after he got dragged underneath the truck, the back tire, the other side, grabbed him on his chest. And the front tire, the way it did the curvature over the Esplanade, missed his head by a foot. I was standing there when that happened. So those marks on the arm, what I'm saying is I know what I experienced with my dad, and what I'm trying to tell you is that the muffler brackets that hold the damn pipes together, those bolts that were sticking out, did the same thing to his forearms.
So if that's the case, why didn't John have broken bones and get run over by the car? Why was he launched?
Oh no!
There's
Wait,
you know what I mean? No.
I'm for.
I know, but I'm
for Karen.
Hey, I listen to you. Can I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
That's not what the prosecution isn't saying that John got sucked under the car and got hit by the exhaust system. They're saying he got launched. That his arm hit the taillight and then he got launched. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't match up with what happened to your dad, is what I'm saying.
Right. But what I'm saying is, you remember in the beginning, did she not think she hit him? You remember in the very beginning, right? The girls claimed that she claimed, could I hit him? Did I hit him? Whatever, right? What I'm saying is, the 10% that I have doubt about, number one, we weren't there. Number two, something happened. I think the cops messed up the whole investigation, okay, from the get-go, because there's an instrument called the theodolite. And what that does is when there's a bad accident or wreck, it's like a transit, and it measures distance. It gives you footage, to do the dialogue and all the diagonals, okay? They didn't do that. I think the cops messed up the investigation because they didn't know what they were doing. And the more they try to hide their mistake, the more it's worse for them. You don't agree for that?
I agree on that part. Thank you for calling tonight.
Yeah, you see. All right,
we're going to move on. What do you guys want to comment on anything he said tonight?
I mean, first of all, what a horrible thing. Sorry to have to witness that to your own father, but it is apples and oranges. I don't mean that disrespectfully, but that's not the prosecution's theory of the case. So they're not endorsing that anyway. And the other thing I would say is if I'm 90% certain, well, then that's not guilty. And
right.
The fact that there's a similarity, look, I'm not a car expert or anything like that, but the DA is adamant that this was the forearm hitting the taillight. And it has to be the taillight because the taillight is all over the place, whether naturally or unnaturally. So they're kind of locked into that being, as opposed to...
Yeah. I think we're wrapping it up on the phone calls tonight. We've taken quite a few. I mean, I'm gonna. That means I have to shut my phone down though, because it will just keep ringing.
Yeah, he tells me sometimes he'll get messages.
Oh, I get them all night.
I'm just looking. Yeah, it'll keep going.
I can't even. I'm trying to shut my phone down. It doesn't even let me because every time I try, it starts ringing again. Here we go. All right, phone's off. Any final comments from you guys tonight? Anything that we didn't get to talk about? James, let's start with you because you got things to promote. You got a YouTube channel. You got a couple of YouTube channels.
Well, JFK and you guys see me on his channel, but right now I have my channel that I'm trying to get, going. It's James Jackson. It's right here in the description at James Jackson. And what else? JFK and I got tons of footage. We did a lot of footage. We went to the waterfall. We went to Fairview. We got a lot of interviews with people. We talked with different people that, normally you wouldn't speak with these people, or we wouldn't speak with these people, I should say. But we got some pretty good content and reliable content. So stay tuned and just subscribe, check it out. And I appreciate Mikey having me up here. I enjoyed tonight. It was great.
Thank you so much for being here, James. And definitely, like you said, subscribe to his channel, as well as the JFK Show Off channel on YouTube as well. And Attorney Betterow, do you have anything that we didn't get to tonight that you want to make sure to mention?
ASU is going to be in the final 8. We know that in 2 weeks, right? They've got
I have no idea. Yes?
They are in the final 12. They're the 4 seed. They've got a home game and a bye, so they are guaranteed to be in the final 8. They were picked for dead last in the Big 12, which, of course, has like 20 teams because conferences today are a joke, 16 or whatever it is, and they end up winning. Hottest team in the country, and getting a home game with a chance to, win 3 games and shock the world. So give it up for the Sun Devils. How's that?
Sun Devils go. Arizona State University. Did I get that right? Arizona State University. Yeah, because of the okay.
Yeah. The other school, which
yeah, I got it mixed up.
The other school, which are the Wildcats, Nogales Tech, we call them. Those are the Nogales Tech Wildcats.
Ooh, are those fighting words?
It's a nasty rivalry. You wouldn't know this. It's people hear about like Ohio State, Michigan, Duke, North Carolina, that kind of stuff. Out there, ASU and Arizona is a nasty. I mean, who's like with the bear down crap in the chat? Come on now, that's their little rally cry.
They're going. I said, "Come on, he caught that."
But yeah, no, it's a nasty rivalry for people when you're out there. You'd never know it, but it's bad.
Is it worse than Yankees Red Sox?
Well, I mean, they call the University of Arizona Nogales Tech. That's pretty.
It's pretty. Yeah, it's like Yankees suck.
Well, I mean, the University of Arizona is in Tucson, which is not a very nice place. As opposed to suburban Phoenix. Tucson, sometimes they call it. They've been known to call it that. Whatever. I'm sure it's a nice. Wow. Tucson's a nice place if you like, fast food and
I like fast food. There's nothing wrong with Burger King.
No,
Taco Bell.
It's a big, nasty rivalry. The best thing I could say about the University of Arizona, though, seriously, because let's give them the props they deserve. That's the campus that was used in Revenge of the Nerds, was the University of Arizona.
Right.
So
that was a good movie.
Great.
I think there was a series of them, right? Just from the first one.
Let's stick to the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I say. Usually the next ones aren't as good. And what's going on with the Celtics? Are they up? Are they winning?
Celtics are up 30-23. It's a very ugly, clunky game. No one's playing well tonight. They're playing without Jason Tatum tonight. They're playing without Sam Hauser, so it's kind of like one of these mishmash, get through it games. But they look good. They're 19-5, in a good place, heading in the right direction again. What else?
Your prediction? Am I gonna make it in my fantasy league right now? Last week I was 4 out of 10. Now I'm down to 7th place, but it's so tight. Like everyone, if I win this game and everyone else loses, I'm back in the top 3. What's going to happen? Am I going to choke them? This is the last game before the playoffs.
Who's playing tonight in football? I don't even know.
I don't know either. I'd have to look at my phone, which I had to turn off because it would be ringing right now.
Obviously the interest in the NFL this year is a little down because the Patriots suck. I mean, they're nice watching a young quarterback and all that. Interesting to see Belichick go back to the college, or not go back.
Big bucks. Yeah, how much money is he going to make in college? More, right?
No, he won't make more.
No?
But, he's pretty much giving away a chance to break the record, though, which is really interesting for all.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but whatever, it's, he's doing what he wants to do. But for football this year, I'm actually, since, we have no real skin in the game because we're terrible, I want to see the Detroit Lions win. That would be, that's never happened in our lifetime.
Really? I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I love Detroit. Detroit's a great city.
I don't really love Detroit, but I feel bad for
you
the
don't
Lions.
love it? Oh,
no, it's kind of,
Eminem.
I would like to see
a lot of
Detroit
good music
win.
out of Detroit back in the day.
Didn't they almost win it last year, Mark?
They made the playoffs. They had that bad loss to Dallas. Or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
They're hard to hate because they've never been anything.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
They're a working class city too. Like you gotta want to see Detroit. They're not a money team.
No, when you think of Detroit, I hate to say it, but you think of like the opening scene of Beverly Hills Cop. Just this like.
I think 8 Mile.
Yeah.
Right, same thing. I'm dating.
Yeah, I know. I think of Beverly Hills Cop too.
Yeah. And it's just tough town, as they say.
We're like it's like having Mazza tonight. We're throwing out the movie references. Got a few of them tonight.
Oh,
Mazza was the first one, I think, that he came in the chat last night and said that was definitely Higgins. Mazza said right away. I said, Mazza just co-signed it, Jay. We knew. We knew right away.
It was amazing that you knew right away, that JFK knew so quick. He's so like... Oh.
Well, like I said, it was the conversation we had with his buddy at the Galleria at Seaside. He was telling us everything about him. And I'm like, wow. So he knew because Seaside came in the chat the next night. So if he must have been watching the chat and Seaside came in with his code name, but his real name came up, I don't think he knew. So that's the next night when he called in and was like, I respect you guys, but you heard what he said. Hey, at least he likes us. He said, I like what you're doing. He said, oh man.
Thank you guys for being here tonight. Thank you, Attorney Betterow.
Yes.
And thank you,
Attorney.
James, again for being here.
Yes.
It was a great night. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Yes.
All right. All right. Take care, guys.
You too.
Take care. Go Celtics.
Go Celtics. It was wild to hear that happen last night with Higgins. It was just, especially when he said like two highly decorated dudes, two dudes. I'm going to play it again. I'm going to try to get my phone up. I want to check a couple things out. Please don't call me. But I want to, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to play it again at the Microdots video right here. Where is it? Hold on. Here we go.
Hey, man, what's up, guys? Kevin from South Boston.
What's up, Kevin from Southie? What's happening?
No, listen, I appreciate the things that you two do, you and James, right? But let me ask you something. Those two dudes that you're accusing, right? They're decorated dudes. What happens?
Decorated.
Like, can you look at this from both sides? And this comes out that she actually did it. Are you ready to, like, put it out there that you were wrong?
You sound like Higgins, bro.
You're trying to sound ghetto.
You wrong.
Too.
Is this Higgins?
Is this Higgins?
You wrong.
You're Higgins.
You wrong.
Kevin Elbit.
Kevin from South Boston.
Kevin Elbit.
Kevin from South Boston.
Kevin. Boston Police.
South Boston.
Boston Police.
South Boston.
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 Boston. Boston. Boston.
Put it out there.
I have a house there.
Put it out there.
I have a house there.
There. You were wrong.
Absolutely not correct. That's wrong.
You were wrong.
Absolutely not correct. That's wrong.
All right. I want to thank everyone who's been watching all the super chats tonight. Also, Cash App had a bunch on Cash App tonight. Looks like none on Venmo, which is funny. Usually it's the opposite. But tonight, Gary sent $10. He said, for the Thursday night YouTube SmackDown. We did have some wrestlers on tonight. I don't know if you saw it. Matt Hardy, Enzo Amore. We also took a crap full of calls. Amanda, Denise, Dave, Helen, Mary. I know I'm missing some more. We had a lot of calls tonight as well. Brave Little Toaster sent $20, says, love your content. Thanks for having James on. Thank you so much, Brave Little Toaster, on the Cash App. Also, Deanne said $25. She says, appreciate you. Thank you so much, Deanne, tonight. Yesterday, I don't think or maybe it was a few days ago. I didn't read this one. Carrie sent $20. She said, great show. Keep up the great work. Those are on the Cash App. Thank you so much for the Cash App. I'm going to check the Venmo one more time, make sure I'm not missing anything. Sometimes it doesn't come through. Yeah, I don't see anything on there tonight. Oh, mate. Let me just check one more time. Sorry about that. I did have a Venmo came in yesterday from Barbara, so I want to thank Barbara. I don't know if I got to thank her. My phone is still ringing. We turned off the phone. Please don't call anymore tonight. I want to thank everybody who's been viewing and watching and supporting and liking and sharing and all that. Thank you for all the donations tonight, especially the new members. You get quite a few new members, and also the people who gifted memberships tonight. Congrats to the people who are new members. Brenda S., thank you. Thank you, Nicole. I also saw Stephanie tonight. Thank you to our moderators. MJ is actually battling a sickness right now, so I'm hoping that she's going to recover. Let's send prayers and thoughts and best wishes to MJ. Stephanie, I want to thank you for moderating tonight with Jen as well. Jen's always there. She's one of our great moderators here, and Scott McGinnis. Thank you so much. Also, it was great to see Kelly Reed watching tonight, making a comment. I want to thank attorney Mark Betterow, big time Betterow, for being here. I'm sorry I hit mute so many goddamn times tonight. It was embarrassing. I was embarrassed. I got to stop doing that. Oh, I always can tell when I'm extra tired because I do it more. And tonight was like, there was one time when it wasn't even my fault. It was something to do with the StreamYard. It happens. I don't know why that happens sometimes. It just all of a sudden puts you on mute. But the rest were me. So I think there was like 4 or 5 times today. It's annoying. I'm sorry. Thank you, though, for everyone who's been donating tonight. BLT was in the chat. Thank you so much, BLT. I want to see everyone soon. I'm not sure when. Maybe even tomorrow night. I don't know. I might do a show tomorrow. We'll see. But thank you all. We'll see you soon. If you haven't, please like and subscribe. And we'll check you soon. Have a great night, everyone.